Let me show you how to use your Gansai Tambi Granulating Colors in a way that you might not have thought of. This is a fun way to test out the colors in this technique that is relaxing and beautiful. So grab some paint and join me. If you don't have your granulating colors yet, paint with what you have. So let's talk about using these Gansai Tambi Granulating Colors. So you might notice that they give you an empty little section here. And this is because you really want to get these mixed up with the water well and suspended in some water before you use them. They'll work a lot better. So I've got my water here, and one little tip is to put a drop or two of clove in your water, and that keeps it from going bad. And this little thing is pretty nifty. It goes on so that all you have to do is squeeze and the water comes out. So I could add a little water here. I resisted squeezing the water on here because it kind of made a little section in each area that was wetter than the rest. So I like to spray that, and that gets it going, but then you can also just use your water dish and get things nice and wet too. And then my next little tip is I use these little jars, and I just wipe, I get it nice and wet and make sure I've got a variety of the pigments, because they've got pigments in there that tend to separate. So that's why you really need to get them suspended. And I just wipe them in here, maybe scoop up a little more water and wipe it until I have a nice little mixture in here. Then I've got them labeled, I've got the tops labeled, and I can just keep them handy if I want to use them again a little bit later. If I find one that's been sitting for a while and dried out, I just use water that has clove oil added. I might let it sit for a minute and then stir it up with a brush. All right, so I've got some orange. I haven't used it for a little while, so it's always good to add a little water to it, stir it up, get those pigments suspended, and then you've got another mixture. I've got one for each of the colors, but I'm just going to use these two today. Another little trick is I took a metal lid. The white is some dry erase contact paper, and then I just take this is violet, and I basically the same thing. I just scoop it with some water, wipe it in here, and then I have a nice little mixture. And then I just let it dry, and I can take it along with me if I'm taking my to-go kit somewhere and I want to do some relaxing circles or other shapes. I can just have this with me ready to go. I've seen a lot of people use these. What I've seen people do so far is use them by themselves. So creating a whole painting and rendering it kind of in a value scale, just using these. And they looked pretty cool, but I think there's a better way to use them. Let's try some of those relaxing circles in this sketchbook. So this is an inexpensive sketchbook, the Canson Mixed Media. And I'll put a link in the description to my Amazon shop where you can find my favorite art supplies, including that. I'm going to use a Roman Szmal mini palette. And this is something where you just buy the empty and you buy your own selection of colors. I've got raw sienna, Blue Ridge burnt sienna, Scarlet Lake, autumn green, December 2025, ocean blue, indigo, mineral violet, and mineral pink. The indigo is actually my own mixture, trying to emulate their indigo greenish, which I have in another set. So the next time I order, I'll get the official one, but for now I did my own mixture. All right, so we're going to combine these with some of the Aurora colors and doing some calm circles that are really relaxing and fun to do. So I'll start out with one of my favorite colors, the mineral pink. Roman Szmal is great at making some really creamy, juicy colors that stay transparent. Here's the mineral violet and the mineral purple. Let's take some of this Aurora Violet and put it alongside here. And I'm going to dab a little bit right on top of it. Then I'm going to take just plain water and let it come down like that. This is the mineral violet with some of that mineral pink. And let's see, let's go to the autumn green. And use a little bit left over right here. Maybe some ocean blue. And then let's see what happens when we take a little bit of this Aurora pink. And let me see, let's just add it right here. And maybe to this one too. And maybe take some of this Scarlet Lake. I haven't tried this combination before, so this is a new exploration for me to see how this works together. All right, let's get some more of the ocean blue over here. This is my favorite way to kind of test out palettes and see how colors work together. And maybe take some Aurora orange over here. And then take the Aurora orange and add it right into that. Then next to it, let's get a really intense Scarlet Lake. See if we can feed those a little bit. You can see the separation starting to happen. So when I first put it on, it was kind of dull. And now you're starting to see some separation. Back to the blue. And just do some water here and see what happens. What is going to come out? Or is the water going to go in? And then this might be too dry. If it's wet enough, we might get the water to run into it. You see, sometimes we can tilt it a little bit and persuade it. All right, you see, we really haven't done mineral violet too much. It kind of really got mixed in with the mineral pink. And then maybe up here. Now the water's running in there. You just never know. And then how about a watery one down here? Let's add some Maybe Aurora Orange over here. I'm going to come back to that violet. Changed my mind at the last minute. And then drop a little, keep those pigments suspended, and then drop a little of the pink in there. And let's do a few more water circles. See what happens when these guys flow in here a little bit and mix. And maybe the same thing over here. Let these two flow together and mix. And let these two flow together. And maybe I'll drop something in that, maybe some of this Aurora Orange. And you'll drop it around a few other places. Add a circle of water here. Get back to some more green. I'm going to intentionally leave some areas that I can do some drawing in. Maybe add a little bit of the Aurora Orange to that one. Oops, and then let's add a little something on my brush. Didn't mean to wipe that much off. There we go. And then let's get back to that mineral pink. Debating, maybe one more right here. That one, let's add some Aurora pink. And then while it's on my brush, I'll see, is there anywhere else that I could maybe add some of the Aurora pink? Let's do another green, another scarlet. And then maybe some Aurora orange up here. And while it's on my brush, maybe I can drop it a few places. I feel like it needs something up here. Maybe another really light blue, even though it's not going to do much with the orange because it's dry. And then drop in a little Aurora orange there. I'll let that dry and let's see how it turned out. Here's how it looks when it's dry. Thanks for being here, and I hope you'll give this a try. If you do, leave me a comment, let me know how it went, or if you have any questions.